Let me begin with a truth most people refuse to face. People don't stay poor because of their income. They stay poor because of their thinking. And for millions of people, that thinking has become a quiet prison they don't even realize they're living in. Here's the hook. If you changed nothing about your salary but changed everything about your mindset, your life would look completely different in 12 months. Not because you earned more, but because you finally stopped sabotaging the little you already had. Most people believe poverty is a number, an income bracket, a line on a chart. But real poverty begins much earlier, in the decisions, the habits, and the expectations people carry long before money ever enters their hands. I've met people who earn almost nothing, yet live with the peace most high-income professionals would kill for. And I've met people with six-figure salaries who live in constant fear. Fear of bills, fear of losing the job they hate, fear of the lifestyle they can no longer afford but can't let go of. So ask yourself a simple question. If more money were really the answer, why are so many high earners still broke? It's because the real trap isn't the paycheck. It's the mindset that follows it. A poverty mindset whispers things like, I'll save later. I'll be responsible when I earn more. This small amount doesn't matter. And every time you repeat one of those sentences, you dig the hole a little deeper. The truth is uncomfortable, but liberating if you accept it. You don't escape poverty by adding more money. You escape it by subtracting the habits that keep you poor. Because the moment your expenses control you, the moment your impulses outrun your income, the moment you depend on next Friday to feel safe, you are not living freely. You are renting your peace of mind week by week. But here's the hope, and this is why this episode matters. You can build a rich life starting from almost nothing, not by magic, not by luck, but by rewiring the way you think about every dollar that enters your world. Tonight, I'm going to show you how people with extremely low incomes break free from the cycle that traps everyone else. Not by earning more, at least not at first, but by choosing clarity over chaos, discipline over impulse, and freedom over approval. If you're willing to challenge the beliefs you carried for years, the ones society taught you, the ones advertisers repeat daily, you can escape the poverty mindset faster than you think. Because poverty isn't just a lack of money. It's a lack of strategy. And strategy, unlike income, is completely in your control. Let's begin. People often think poverty is measured in dollars. But the deeper truth is this. Poverty begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank account. A poverty mindset isn't about being broke. It's about being convinced that you're powerless. It's the quiet belief that nothing you do matters, that your future is fixed, that your small efforts are too small to change anything. And once that belief settles in, it becomes self-fulfilling. A poverty mindset sounds like this. I can't save because my income is too low. I'll learn about money later. What difference does $5 make? These sentences look harmless, but they are mental termites. They hollow out your discipline until nothing strong remains. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't trapped by poverty. They're trapped by the stories they tell themselves about money. The victim mindset says, I am waiting for something external to rescue me. The designer mindset says, I will use what I have, even if it's small, to build what I want. The poor mindset focuses on limitations. The rich mindset focuses on leverage. And the biggest difference between the two is this: the poor mindset reacts. The rich mindset designs. Poor thinking waits for raises, windfalls, luck, or miracles. Rich thinking works with whatever is already in its hands. No excuses, no fantasies, just clarity and control. A poverty mindset is also built on emotional habits. Impulse over intention, comfort over clarity, approval over independence, desire over discipline. It tells you that a small pleasure now is worth more than a stable life later. It convinces you that spending is self-care, that saving is deprivation, that planning is unnecessary, and that tomorrow will somehow take care of itself. But tomorrow never takes care of itself. Only you can do that. The truth is simple but powerful. If you cannot control $1, you cannot control 10,000. If you cannot save at a low income, you will not save at a high one. A poverty mindset scales upward. So does a wealthy mindset. Whatever you repeat at a small level explodes when the numbers get bigger. And that is why escaping poverty has very little to do with income and everything to do with identity. Who you believe yourself to be directly shapes what you allow yourself to do. The moment you stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How can I?" you have already escaped the first layer of poverty. Because the real escape isn't financial. It's psychological. And once your thinking breaks free, your finances eventually follow, no matter how small the starting point. If you want to live well on a low income, you must do something the world rarely teaches. Design your life on purpose instead of letting it happen by accident. Most people don't design anything. They drift, they spend on autopilot. Their money moves the same way water leaks, quietly, constantly, unconsciously. At the end of the month, they look around and wonder where it all went. But a rich life, even on very little, begins with one simple act: clarity. Clarity means writing down every monthly cost, every subscription you forgot existed, every small habit that drains your wallet without your consent. Because you cannot improve what you refuse to measure, and you cannot design what you refuse to see. When you live on a low income, your greatest advantage isn't money. It's precision. It's the ability to decide exactly where every dollar goes and, more importantly, where it will never go again. That's why I tell people to create two lists: the essentials list and the no list. The essentials list is short, disciplined, unforgiving. Rent, food, utilities, transportation, health, the things that truly support your life. But the no list is where your freedom begins. It's the list of things you won't spend on, no matter how much society pressures you. No impulse gadgets, no emotional shopping, no lifestyle upgrades because someone else posted a photo online. A no list isn't about deprivation. It's about liberation. Every time you cross something off your financial life, you buy back another inch of freedom. Here's what most people don't realize. A low-income life can be incredibly peaceful when you remove everything that causes unnecessary noise. You don't need a new phone every year. You don't need to eat out every weekend. You don't need 8 different subscriptions whispering to you each month. A rich life is not built from abundance. It is built from alignment. Your spending matching your values instead of your impulses. And once your expenses fall into place, something magical begins to happen. Small surpluses appear, a few dollars here, a few dollars there. Not much at first, but enough to create momentum. And momentum is the beginning of wealth. You don't need more income to start living richly. You need a structure that protects you from chaos and a design that reflects who you want to become. Because living well has never been about how much you earn. It has always been about how intentionally you use what little you already have. Modern life is a factory that manufactures one thing extremely well: obligations, not opportunities, not freedom. Obligations. It starts quietly. A streaming service here, a food delivery habit there, a phone upgrade that only adds a little, a gym membership you swear you'll use someday. Individually, each one feels harmless, but together they form the treadmill that keeps millions of people exhausted, working harder every year, yet somehow never moving forward. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't overspending because they're reckless. They're overspending because they're numb. Their expenses grow so slowly, so silently, that they don't notice the trap until it closes. And the more you earn, the faster the treadmill moves. That's why people making $30,000 feel anxious. And people making $300,000 feel the exact same way. The numbers change. The anxiety does not. Because anxiety isn't caused by income. It's caused by commitments you can't keep up with. To escape the treadmill, you must attack the problem at its root: your fixed monthly costs, not the one-time purchases, not the occasional splurges, the silent automatic withdrawals that drain your future while you're asleep. These are the real thieves of freedom. So here's the exercise that changes everything. Write down every recurring cost you have, every subscription, every bill, every "it's only a few dollars" expense. Put them all on one page and then ask the question nobody ever asks. If I lost my income tomorrow, which of these expenses would suffocate me first? That single moment of honesty reveals the truth. Most people aren't living. They're maintaining a lifestyle they can't afford to lose. Once you see the treadmill, you can finally step off it. Start by cutting the obligations that give you nothing in return. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Downgrade plans that quietly increased over time. Stop upgrading things that still work perfectly. Replace expensive habits with intentional ones. You're not shrinking your life. You're shrinking your dependency. And here's the powerful part. Every fixed cost you remove increases your freedom permanently. Not just this month. Every month. Because lowering your burn rate is the closest thing to giving yourself a raise, without anyone's permission. The treadmill isn't escaped by running faster, earning more, or hustling harder. It is escaped by stepping off, by refusing to carry expenses that don't carry you back. And once you stop feeding the machine, you finally have space. Space to breathe, space to save, space to think, space to redesign your life on your own terms. People think freedom requires a big salary, a promotion, a lucky break. But that belief has trapped more people than poverty ever has. The truth is far simpler. Freedom begins with tiny surpluses, amounts so small most people ignore them. $5, $10, the leftover change from a week of discipline. Small? Yes. But irrelevant? Not at all. Because what matters isn't the size of the surplus. It's the direction of the surplus. Most people live their entire lives without ever experiencing a single month where money moves forward instead of backward. And that one shift, that moment when even a few dollars remain after all expenses, changes a person far more than any raise ever will. It proves something critical. Your life is no longer controlled by your circumstances. You have created space. You have created margin. You have created possibility. Tiny surpluses, repeated consistently, become the seeds of wealth. Not because the numbers are impressive, but because the behavior is. A person who can save $5 at a low income is more prepared for wealth than someone who wastes $50 at a high one. Why? Because wealth is not built by abundance. It is built by stewardship, the quiet discipline of directing every dollar with intention. So here's a simple formula for escaping the poverty mindset. Earn a little, spend slightly less. Repeat until the surplus becomes a habit. A surplus of $5 becomes 20. 20 becomes 100. 100 becomes the emergency fund that finally lets you breathe. And that emergency fund becomes the psychological foundation for investing. Not with fear, but with clarity. Freedom doesn't come from a big leap. It comes from stacking tiny advantages month after month, quietly and visibly, until one day the momentum becomes impossible to stop. And here's the part most people underestimate. Tiny surpluses compound emotionally before they compound financially. The first thing that grows isn't your bank account. It's your confidence. You begin to believe in your own ability to change your life. That belief is worth more than any dollar amount. Small surpluses teach you. You are capable. You are in control. You are not powerless. You don't need to wait for a better job, a better year, or a better economy. You can change the direction of your life today with whatever amount you have, because freedom doesn't start with money. It starts with margin, and margin starts small, but it ends enormous. If you want to know a person's true financial maturity, don't look at how they handle their paycheck. Everyone can spend a paycheck. Everyone can justify a bill. Everyone can blame their salary. The real test is far simpler. What do you do when extra money arrives? A bonus? A tax refund, an overtime payment, a gift, a sudden stroke of luck. Most people fail this test instantly, or they treat extra money as if it were free money. Money without purpose. Money without responsibility. Money that somehow doesn't count. And because of that mindset, it evaporates. Fast, mindlessly, and without any memory of where it went. But here's the truth. Unexpected money exposes the state of your habits. If your first instinct is to spend it, you are reacting. If your first instinct is to assign it a job, you are designing. Poor thinking says, I deserve a reward. Rich thinking says, this is leverage. I won't waste it. Because every dollar has potential. Some people multiply it, others murder it. A windfall is not a celebration. It's an opportunity, a chance to accelerate your progress, to repair past mistakes, or to buy yourself a little more freedom than you had yesterday. So here's the rule that separates growth from stagnation. Every unexpected dollar must be planned before it arrives, not after. Before. When you already know what you will do with extra money, emotion loses its power. Marketing loses its power. Impulse loses its power. You switch from reacting to life to managing it. A simple example, 50% goes to investing, 30% to paying down debt, 20% to living joyfully but responsibly, not forever, not rigidly, just consistently enough to build momentum, just intentionally enough to make sure accidents don't become regrets. Because here's the irony. People say they need more income, but they waste the extra income they already get. It's not the amount that matters. It's the habit. A person who invests half of a small windfall will one day invest half of a large one. A person who wastes a small windfall will one day waste a fortune. Behavior scales, mindset scales. And the windfall test reveals which direction you're scaling toward. So ask yourself, when extra money arrives next time, will it move your life forward, or will it simply disappear like all the other chances you've been given? Your answer to that question is the difference between repeating the past and escaping it forever. People spend their whole lives chasing a number, a salary target, a savings goal, a lifestyle they believe will finally make them feel safe or respected or complete. But here's the truth. Most people don't learn until life has already taken decades from them. Being rich has very little to do with money. It has everything to do with freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from fear. Freedom from needing the next paycheck just to breathe. Freedom from buying things to impress people you don't even like. Freedom from the noise that keeps your life louder than your thoughts. A rich life isn't loud. It's quiet, stable, calm. A life where your bills are small, your needs are simple, and your mind is no longer held hostage by monthly obligations. Most people think wealth arrives the day they earn more, but wealth actually begins the day you need less. Because the less you need, the harder it becomes for the world to control you. And that, more than any salary, is what makes a human being truly rich. So here is your final task. Write down 5 expenses you can reduce or eliminate, 5 chains you no longer want around your neck. Then write down 1 action you will take this week to build your margin of safety. A tiny investment, a small surplus, a deliberate choice that protects your future self. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be consistent. Because the moment you live with intention, you stop living in reaction. The moment you design your life, you stop drifting through it. And the moment you realize you already have enough, you stop sacrificing your peace for appearances. You don't escape poverty by getting richer. You escape it by getting clearer. And once clarity arrives, freedom follows, quietly, steadily, inevitably. A rich life doesn't begin with more money. It begins with a new definition of enough. And when you reach that point, you'll discover something extraordinary. You were never poor. You were simply misaligned. And alignment, not income, is what makes a person truly wealthy.